All right, everyone, welcome back to the biz. Thanks for tuning in. Today, our guest speaker is this lovely human being, Cozell Wilson from the band Beverly Crusher. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, and thanks for having me.
Yeah. So I wanted to touch up. This is going to be a very short episode because I wanted to talk about racism in the music industry, and I don't think it exists very much. So there was probably not a lot for us to talk about.
There is a lot to talk about, but there is lots of racism in the music industry. It's not always like right in your face. It's like little subtle things where, like, if I play a show and there's some older people in the crowd, like I can see the guy walking up, like, you're like wrapping up your cables, like trying to get your pedal case out of the
Yeah.
way, and like, and then just get at day so that you can talk with people and like crack beers or whatever you need to do. And you can see the dude walking up who just can't wait to tell you that he thinks that you're the second coming of Jimi Hendrix. Yeah. Like, I saw you walking over, and I learned to not, because I would be like, no, that's crazy. Like, I just go with it. Like, just go with it, because like it's easier than you have to start. Then it's changed, and they're like, "What are you talking about? I'm trying to give you a compliment." And I'm like,
Right. Right.
but you're
They
just
don't think
like,
they're being racist when they
I
say
know,
that.
I know. Oh no, I was like, okay, let's just keep it moving. Like, you learn to adapt. It doesn't slide off me. Like, I remember it,
Right.
but it's easier to just circumvent the situation of trying to argue with an old dude about why he thinks that you sound like Jimi Hendrix,
Yeah,
which is
exactly.
it's a nice thing to say,
It's
really.
it would be a nice thing if like maybe that hasn't happened like hundreds of times. Or if that wasn't like everyone's go-to of like, older people being like, well, I know Jimi Hendrix. So
Yeah,
I'm when I give you the compliment, I'm just going
yeah. We were
to like tell you you're closest to the other black musician that I know.
there was one time where we're playing this thing called Mercer Summit. It was like a block party, and so not only was my band gonna play, but then also I was DJing inside of the summit. And then like the bar setup was right there, and I like was helping out bartend a little bit. So I'm all over the place. I'm like going back to like to the stage where we were playing at, and then I'm like behind, coming into the bar, and like I'm in the DJ area, and then I'm behind the bar, so I'm like in and out of all these places, and then like our merch is in a certain place,
Yeah.
and somebody on security was like, "Hey, who knows this black guy? He selling drugs," and they like took a picture of me and sent it to like every security guard. And then I didn't even know about it until a few days later. My buddy, who works at the showbox, like, because it just like he was in a group, he wasn't even working security. Like, what was this about you being a drug dealer at a music festival? I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, my picture is just floating around. Uh, just
That's
in
so
secret.
fucked.
Yeah, it was that was crazy, because I felt like so comfortable. I'm like,
Yeah, you think that
I'm playing,
yeah.
I'm DJing, I'm bartending. I'm like, well, I'm putting in my work right now, but no,
You'd be like,
I'm getting
dude,
profiled.
if I was selling drugs, I wouldn't have to bartend and DJ and play a show. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah,
Like
right,
I'll just probably
right. I
have to
mean,
do one thing.
at least not bartend. But
Yeah.
yeah, there's all kind of weird stuff that happens.
I remember when me and Brandon, the drummer of Rebuilder, and he's black, we went to the Axis in Boston. I forget what show we were seeing, but like in between bands, like this kid just walked up to us and he shook our hands. It was like, hey man, like I just want to thank you guys. And I was like, does he know our band? Like we barely played any shows. Like I was like trying to figure out what's going on. And Brandon was like, yeah. And he was like, yeah, I just want to thank you guys. Like, you know, I never see like, you know, black people or like people of color coming to shows. And like Brandon was like, dude, you better get the fuck out of here before I kick the shit out of you. And he was like so shocked that like, you know, that was the response because he didn't think there was anything wrong with what he was saying. It's like, dude, that's fucked up that you would come up and say that to someone. Like, you just don't like that. I don't know. You just don't say that shit to somebody. And it's kind of crazy that people think that like coming up to you and saying that is like this way of like complimenting you when it's like literally the exact opposite. It's like so fucking offensive.
Yeah, it's funny that that same story happened to me kind of, but on the other end where I saw like this younger kid, and he was at our show, and he was black, and I was like, oh shit, this is what I'm talking about finally. And I went over and like because as a black person, when you see somebody at a show, like you're like, you know, just give the nod or whatever, like
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
you know. And so I was just came over and I was like, yo, what's up? Thanks for coming to the show. Oh, and he was like, oh yeah, another black guy at a show, and then he walked off, and I was like, like that's the exact opposite of what I thought. But like if that would have came from somebody else, I would have understood.
Yeah,
So
I think. I mean,
that's
I've definitely, you know, I don't see a lot of Hispanic kids at like punk rock shows. I never really have. And that was like a thing where like, you know, like I remember the first time that I ever left the state like touring with the band, and I was like touring with Big D and the Kids Table at the time, and we went to, I think it was like New Mexico. I'd never been to New Mexico before. And I was like, holy shit, there's so many Hispanic punks here. Like, this is cool. Like, I was like, this is so awesome because, like, I just had never seen that before. And I thought it was great. And, like, I was just, like, doing merch. Like, everyone that came up and bought a T-shirt and stuff like that, it just, like, for me, I was like, this is awesome. Like, this is the way it should be. Like, I would love to see more representation at shows. But, I mean, you know, I understand that there's more of a population in New Mexico of Hispanics than there is in Framingham, Massachusetts, or Boston, Massachusetts, for that matter.
talking about touring, like me touring with Max and Sam. Like I remember, we're coming back from Reno, and so we had to go through Eastern Oregon, and I was like, look, guys, let's just beeline it through here because I don't even want to stop for gas over here. And this is like 2017 or 2018, so it's like fresh Trump, like the Trump was freshly graded,
right?
And they didn't get it. They're like, what are you talking about? Like, it's like, dude, let's just get over to like Portland or something like that. I just don't want to get out of the car if I don't have to. Like a lot of that was some. I felt like some of it was me, like over dramatizing it, but like with emphasis of like if I overreact, then they'll take me more serious just because.
But it's just it's the fact that you're aware of that, you know, and that's like the crazy thing. It's being aware that that is a thing. I remember pre-Trump, we, you know, would tour in the South because we'd always done really well in Virginia Beach, but like, you know, like I remember always going to Virginia Beach, and while we're driving down there, there's this gas station that's called Dixieland, and it is like the last gas station before you cross the line of like not being in the South anymore. And it's a huge Confederate flag, and it's like, you know, it's a very like pro like Trump type place. And I remember when we drove past that every single time, I was like, well, we're definitely in the South now. You know, we have a lot of friends down there. People welcome us down there. We play there, but you know, there's always the subtle racism. You know, once Trump became president, and I saw kind of like social media and everything, like a lot of people just being outright racist and not feeling bad about it, and just feeling like they can now because they're empowered by this president. It was something that I had to think about. I was like, I think touring in the South while Trump is president, it might be a bit weird for us. You know, me being Hispanic, Brandon being black, like it's just one of those things. Like, I don't know if now if we play someplace in the South where racism is very heavy and we're at a gas station and someone just doesn't like us because of the color of their skin, are they going to attack us now? You know, or like try to fucking fuck our van up just for that. And
Yeah.
it's something that it's crazy that you have to be aware of that, you know, because I think that, you know, when you live, even when, you know, you have subtle racism and a lot of racism in the major cities where we do live, but you have to remember outside of that there are other places that I think can be very, very dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah, I think especially living over here, there's like a definite bubble, like Tacoma, Seattle. Basically, that's it.
Yeah.
Like as soon as you go, but like a lot of the only time people go outside of that is to like if you go hiking or something, and you don't talk to people on trails. You get gas, you use your credit card.
Right.
It's not it's not a big thing. Uh, so you don't really notice it that much, but like try being broke down and like my person that I was dating at the time, we had a long road trip, and like we broke down in the middle of Montana, and like we spent 9 days there, and I was terrified. It was fine when I think about it, but it's like I had a lot of anxiety about
Right.
from even from what I heard, where like you like it's just it seems so foreign to even be out there for me, and I don't belong here. So
Sure.
now I'm projecting this energy of I feel like I don't belong here, and like now that people might even be picking up on that energy and being like, why is this person is acting like he doesn't belong here because he
Right.
doesn't belong here. It's like
Right.
the energy perpetuates itself,
Yeah.
and like it's weird.
Yeah, it's definitely something that I think that you start thinking about when you leave outside of your comfort zone, and it's definitely a weird thing. I remember there's a band that is called Los Kung Fu Monkeys that is from Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Like some of them live in LA, some of them live in Mexico. Um, but they were opening up a tour for the Bosstones. I was on that tour doing merch for the Bosstones, and there was one very long drive from, I think it was LA to, it could have been Arizona or somewhere further away. All I know is there was a big drive. The drive would have taken something like 2 days for this big drive to happen. And the Kung Fu Monkeys band took an alternate route that was like like it added like 10 hours more of their drive. And I remember being
Right.
like, why did you go that way? And they were like, well, the route that you guys would normally take to go through Texas. Yeah, I think the show was in Texas. And they're like, the route that you would take to go through Texas hits too many cities that are close to the border. And there is too many like racist, basically like freedom fighters who basically would try to
Yeah.
fuck with them. And they're like, it's happened to us before. They're like, so what we do is like, if we drive 10 hours north to the next like huge major highway, we can kind of go past all of those cities that border Mexico and come down. And I remember being like, that's so fucking disgusting that they have to do 10 hours of extra travel to go around this
Yeah.
because they're afraid
Not
of being pulled over.
and that's from experience,
Right.
which is wild.
Right.
Sorry, my battery's dying. So I feel kind of professional. Oh my gosh, this one's dead. Son of a- uh, outside of Beverly Crusher, I'm a DJ, and so we have me and my buddy Arel have a house night on Mondays, and it's like we've made it into like a people of color and queer friendly dance night where everybody like looks out for each other, and like Like if the room is small, so like it'll be elevated. If I see anybody being creepy, like we'll get
Yeah,
on the microphone and be like, "Yo, security, get these people out of here."
that's fucking great.
We want everybody to be. We wanted to keep that vibe. We wanted to keep that vibe going. So we're like, it doesn't matter how many people watch. We're just gonna keep streaming on Mondays, um, just to keep the vibe going, keep that energy going.
Yeah, I think that's important too, because if it's something that people liked to normally do and that is
Yeah,
gone, even though it's not nearly the same, it's kind of just the support is there. People are like, yeah,
yeah,
this is something I want to look forward to going back to this, and I want to be a part of this, even though I can't be a part of it in the full capacity, which is why like we've, Rebuilder has done a couple of like live streams, but we've done more like we just put together like some funny videos just to put out because we were just like, I was like, what do we do? Just like disappear as a band during this time? Like everything that I've identified as doing my whole entire life, I just don't do now. Um,
yeah.
and it's been fun. It's been fun. And a lot of people have been like sharing it where it's crazy that I'm seeing that more people I think have been interested in the band now because they're just home looking for things to do, and people are sharing like, check this out, like we've been selling merch and everything, and it's been awesome. And I feel like I figured out like a couple weeks ago how to like spend my time, like I was like, okay, in quarantine I think I can have like not so much of a routine, but there's things that I do. Like when I get up, I'll finally have coffee. I'll figure
Mm-hmm.
out what's the new TikTok trend that I should be learning and figuring out. Like, do I learn a new TikTok dance from some girl that's like
Are you
16 who can like fucking dance like
are you
crazy?
TikToking? You
So
TikToking?
that was a weird thing. I downloaded TikTok just to like know what it was,
Mm-hmm.
and while I was like looking, I of course would see people doing these TikTok dance routines and stuff, and I was like, there is no way I could do that. And a friend of mine who was doing them, she was like, I can teach you, like this one's really easy. It took me about an hour to do, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna post tomorrow. I'm gonna put on my velour outfit and do the TikTok dance. And this is pretty much what they see, like it's this with like the posters behind me and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And it it like did well. Like the first video I put had like 26,000 views, and there's just like
What?
array of comments of people being like, this is awesome, where did you get that outfit, why is nobody talking about the posters in the background, like all array of like everything, like
I've been
you
I've
know
been silent about the posters as well.
and one day I logged into TikTok and I saw that I had a lot of notifications, more than normal, like too many to be comfortable with, and I was like, something is happening. And this guy, I guess, saw my video and did a react video, which is that like my video plays in the corner while he watches it and talks about it. And he said, I don't know who this guy is, but he has 170 views and he's funny as shit, so let's blow him up and go over and follow him. And all of a sudden I went from having 170 followers to like 1,100 in like 3 days. But all the followers icons were like American flags and like Blue Lives Matter icons and like very right wing.
What?
Yeah. And it was
That
so strange. Like I was like, this is so strange to me. Because I'm the last person that they would
yeah.
want to see and follow. But for some reason,
Yeah.
because this guy told them to follow. So I went to the guy's page to see who's the one who told them to follow. And he's a guy that's very right wing. He lives in the South and he has like 226,000 fans of very much the same mind as him. Like, and he, of course, those were the people that came over and followed my page. And it was very much like, the usernames are like, conservative Christian one or something like that. And I was like, this is like so strange to me that this is like the people that are following me on TikTok.
Conservative Christian one. I shot my friend's wedding, and I was trying to find the footage because I was like working on my reel or something. I can't remember what I was doing, but I was going through all my YouTube videos, and I was like, just like like getting rid of dumb stuff and stuff that like I did in like 2008 that's probably not funny anymore
Yeah.
and whatnot. Just doing growing up internet maintenance, and I scrolled past this video and it said 300 on it, and I was like, I know I have more than 300 views on that video because I thought it was like at like 1,500 or something like that.
Sure.
And then I kept scrolling and I was like, wait a minute. And then I went back up and it had 300,000 views on it. And now I'm like, wait, what? Why does this video have so many views? Like, when did this happen? And I like go into the analytics. And so the video is me and my friends went across the country on the train and we went to different zoos.
Yeah.
And then we're just like, we're just partying and going to zoos. And so I think it was the San Diego Zoo. There's these giraffes, and one giraffe, its ass is like facing towards us, and another giraffe's face is looking at us, and then the ass giraffe starts peeing, and then the the giraffe facing us like goes down and drinks the pee, and then looks right at the camera and goes. Oh, I put it on the internet and I called it R. Kelly giraffe in like 2012, and I forgot all about it. And like, and it had just like blown, like now I think it has like 3 million views.
That is
And now
amazing.
that's how I'm monetized on YouTube, is because of R. Kelly giraffe.
Dude, you have to put that on TikTok. It would do so well.
Yeah, I don't. And then like I had the whole pumpkin spice thing going for a while, and I was like,
I enjoyed the pumpkin spice thing.
I mean, I got a couple more episodes, but now's not the time for a black man to be putting out pumpkin spice videos.
I mean, I feel you on that, because like when, so I kind of had like my routine where like, I would like wake up, get my coffee, figure out like what I was going to do on TikTok, because I was like, people are watching and I kind of want to like see if I can grow this. And then I would like work on Rebuilder songs. I would like, make food. I would kind of just like maybe go for a drive just so I was bored, and I would play a bunch of video games. And I was like, cool, this is how I can like spend my day. And then when I saw everything happening on the news and all the stuff happening with George Floyd and then the protests and the riots, I like instantly like could not do this routine anymore. I was like, I can't think of the idea of putting on a velour outfit and learning a TikTok dance to upload onto TikTok. I was like, I don't want to post anything like that at all. It feels very, very weird to do that. And like, I even had people on TikTok messaging me being like, you're not posting anymore. What's going on? That I made a video on TikTok that was like, hey, this is the reason why I'm not here right now. I like, it's not appropriate for me to post this right now. With the day I can come back and start making funny videos for you guys, I'll be stoked, because that means that I kind of feel better about things, but it doesn't feel that great right now to do that.
Yeah. I did, like, honestly, when the George Floyd news hit and people were taken to the streets, I was of the attitude like, okay, we're gonna go through this again. People are gonna be out this weekend, and then come Monday it'll be over.
Right.
And it's not over, which is in Seattle, it's not over. Like the police in my neighborhood in the East Precinct, they have abandoned the office. They just left.
Wow.
Which is crazy. Like they boarded up the police station and they left, because like any time that there was protesters there, if the police were chill, then everybody was chill. But when the police like started to turn up, then things got really out of hand. Or like like when they said somebody threw a bomb and it was a candle, or my friend from high school took a video of cops seeing a little girl, and then they found him later and arrested him for shining a laser pointer at them. Like they said he had a laser pointer or something. Like all kinds of weird stuff is happening. I'm like, well, this is real. I've just seen it so many times. I'm like, okay, like I don't know how this is about to change with people taking the streets like this, and it's gonna die off again, and it's really disappointing. But people are keeping that energy, and it's pretty impressive. Like, and
Absolutely.
at the same time, like I was I was moving out of my apartment, and so like all this stuff is happening, and I'm like moving by myself, like not wanting anybody to help me move because there's a pandemic going on.
Yeah, yeah.
But then now there's people like rioting in the streets, and I'm like, so my brother was helping me, and we're just like moving stuff out of my apartment. There's helicopters going over. The like we just the march just like went a block up from my house, and we're like, wow, people are really doing this.
It's wild, man. I
Like we
thought
both,
the same thing. I thought it was maybe just gonna like die off
yeah,
after
we
a
didn't believe.
weekend.
He called me. He was like, "So you want to go downtown?" And I was like, "It was the first day," and I was like, "I don't know. Like, seems a little bit risky. Like, I I hope that this is not in vain, or like people are not, or people are gonna actually stick with it this time, because like when people stop marching in the streets, it doesn't change anything for me.
Right.
Like the same fear is there. So it almost felt like uh, is it, I don't know. Yeah, it's just like it's usually pretty frustrating.
Yeah.
Um, I don't I don't know what the light at the end of the tunnel is, but like people are actually digging something this, but
I don't either. Like, I don't really know what the end game is, but
yeah.
I appreciate that there's people in the streets. I appreciate that. Like, I think it's almost the perfect storm of stuff because of the pandemic, because a lot of people are
Yeah.
out of work, and a lot of people kind of have no choice but to pay attention. And
Hmm.
I think a lot, seeing that the people on the streets and seeing that people are, marching for something that they believe in, and it's not just, people of color like being unheard anymore. It's like there is white people in the streets saying that this is wrong. And I haven't gone to a protest. One, like, I'm still nervous about the pandemic. It's not gone. And
Yeah. Yeah.
it's still risky to go out there. And I think that, given that there is a pandemic, that there are like a lot of people in the streets still going out and keeping the fight alive. I do appreciate that, and I think that that is a great thing. But it's hard to see what happens after this, because after this, like, minorities are still minorities, black people are still black people, and like white people are still white people. So
Yeah.
after this, is it just more awareness that happens, or are things really going to change? It's really hard to say. I don't think that any of this can be fixed in a couple of weeks. It's just, it's a matter of maybe it's just a start.
And I mean, it, the idea behind everything is it is it is easy to fix that by just, you know if you kill somebody in the line of duty, you you got to pay for that.
Right.
Like, you're that's a crime.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Just like if a post, like, if you're in any other line of work and you run somebody over with your car, it's still manslaughter.
Right.
Like
Absolutely.
like you, it's the club of, because you're a police officer, you're impervious to any sort of prosecution, which is just ridiculous. And it's not too far fetched of an idea to be like, you know what, maybe we should stop letting people get away with shit like this. It's
Right.
not it's not really any any sweat off their backs. I mean, it gives them more power, and I'm pretty sure that makes them feel more comfortable doing their job, to be like, well, if shit gets crazy and they die and I don't die, then I was in the right. But I mean, there is no but to that. It's just the
Yeah.
way it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I think and there has to be a lot of reform to do it, and like I mean, I obviously don't have any of the answers of how it should be done. I don't know if you do
Yeah,
either,
right.
but I think it's just
No,
I
I
think.
don't. I don't. Maybe I know. It's just a like for me. It's like a list of moral demands where like okay, tear gas. Come on now,
Right,
and like suffocating somebody for 9 minutes and pretending like you don't know that they're unconscious. Come on now,
right.
like there's there really are no excuses besides the fact that like the only thing they can say is that I was doing my job.
Sure.
And if that's what doing your job means, then maybe you need to rethink what your job is.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how someone, if that's their job, feels okay doing that job.
Yeah.
It's very confusing to me.
And
Uh,
I was gonna say I thought about it. I was I was coming from like I was taking loads of my stuff and putting it in a storage facility. And it's really close to my house, so like I was stuck at an intersection because the march was going by, and there was like all these bike cops, and this one dude on his bike goes past the bike cops, and he like doubles back and he's like, "You guys should be ashamed of yourselves." And and this is like right when everything happened, and I was like, I don't what's this what can this guy say to rebuttal him? And all he could do was like smirk because he didn't really have anything. Like
yeah,
it, it's pretty jacked up. And for that person to change anything, he's got to be like, well, I quit, and
right.
then like then he's not like paying his bills and stuff like that. I mean, he's making the right decision, but it's like you can see it in their faces where they're like, I just can this just please be over and we go back to how everything was before. Like they're just waiting for that. So
Yeah, and and that's the thing is that like people always love to use the arguments that it's like not all cops.
yeah,
Do I believe that there are good cops out there? Sure, but like that is the rarity. That is the problem, is that it's so rare when you see that there's a good cop who's like and that one good cop or two good cops isn't going to turn over a whole precinct and be like, we need to do better and like really fix the problem. It's too much.
I just
That's the rarity. And and I've always said that like would things have been different if like when as soon as this happened with George Floyd, what if we saw nationwide across every single state cops like stand up together and be like, what this guy did is completely wrong and should not have been done, and that cop should be arrested? Like, what if cops came out and said that before anyone else did? Like,
yeah,
I don't know if we'd be in this situation. Maybe we would be, but it would be something that you would see like a change, being like, oh great, I'm happy that not every police officer feels this way and that they're doing something about it because they see how terrible this is that this happened. But there's been plenty of times for them to do that in the past, and that has never happened. And it's only after these riots and only after all of this happened that you start seeing cops coming out, even on like TikTok or other social media, being like, we don't agree with what he did. It's awful what he did. It's terrible. And it's like, well, none of this has ever, you guys just don't say this before. You never hear it before.
it's like that, like the pictures of of like the chiefs of police that are marching with people and stuff. When I saw those pictures, I was like, these guys are genius. No
Yeah.
matter what they think, they're definitely de-escalating. Like I'm not convinced that they feel a different type of way, but like trying to de-escalate instead of incite rage
Right.
is
And if they are just de-escalating the situation by like marching with people, then and like trying to keep more people safe, then like cool, that's awesome. But like what is going to happen after this? After you marched with
yeah,
people, you're still a police
yeah,
officer tomorrow. So what
exactly.
happens tomorrow?
Yeah, they hope that worked and people chill out, but people aren't chilling out, and that it's it's pretty amazing. I'm I'm blown by the whole thing. Like like being on so on Saturday I when my practice space is like 3 doors down from that intersection where everything is happening.
Yeah.
So my intention was to go and be involved on Saturday, but I had to go to my practice space first. But because I guitar, so later on I can have some shred time, you know.
Yeah.
And I guess like an hour before I got up there, the police officers like treat and tear gassing people, and this is like the day after they said that they weren't going to use any of that stuff.
Right.
And they like just pushing everybody like into the park and so then I had to go like around this big block, and then I'm at my practice space, put my stuff away, and then you walk up to the street where that intersection is, and it was all blocked off. Well, I guess they got the call from somebody that whatever just happened was making them look really bad, so they collapsed back into where they were, and like there's just a flood of people that just pushed through it, and I felt like that was like such a powerful moment. I have it recorded on my 360 camera. I gotta find it and upload it. I'm sure people want to see that from
Yeah,
like a
that's
360
awesome.
perspective where you can see everything. But like push back up on the line, and I was like, this is really powerful. And now they're all like the cops are just going there. Like they pushed all the way up to uh the police precinct, and the cops just left. So it feels like progress, but I don't know what kind of progress that is. Still have jobs. It's
Right.
still I don't know. Like I'm glad it happened. I just want to know, what does it all mean? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
what
I think a lot of us are
like
thinking that.
is this gonna I'm like is it gonna be safer now? Like I'm just so sick and tired of when I'm driving. It doesn't care if I mean it doesn't matter if I'm going like 25 miles an hour and it's a 35-mile-an-hour zone and a cop drives by me. My heart still sinks. Like I'm like shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm tired of feeling like that. I just want it to be over. I don't know that I ever won't feel like that. But I know, like, I mean, I've got like we were recording an album, like we were working on the full length. There's like 6 songs
Yeah.
basically done. I got to do some vocals, and then like we got to record like 4 more songs. But like I wrote a song that's like definitely I got to pop that on there. It's pretty relevant, and that was just like with Corona energy. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm like low key like to keep myself prepared and whatnot. Like binge watch Doomsday Preppers and like all kinds of like I love those right wing YouTube videos where like these guys are so crazy, but they have some good information about like you know storing food, like how to make a fire or like. But besides that, like the energy and that's the stuff that like scares me the most. When I'm like I see I I see stuff that a lot of people, and it's just like holy crap. Like I hope it doesn't come down to what these guys want, because some people are like salivating at the mouth. They're like, yes,
I think that I feel the
order
same
more
way.
magazines, order more magazines of for your AR-15, and like buy more rice and gas masks and stuff. I'm like, whew.
Yeah. It's they
I don't know.
definitely they put a lot of energy into it, and I think that's scary. It's like they're just the amount of energy they put into that. It's like holy shit. Imagine if local bands put that much energy into their music.
Yeah, right. Seriously, like you put saying that right now. I'm like, okay, man, let me go and keep practicing this mixolydian scale I've been practicing. I'm trying to bring new things to the table, you know.
Well, I think it's important, man. I'm glad that you play the music that you do, and I think your band rips, and I'm glad that
I got you.
Thanks, and I'm glad that you're out there, just just doing it. I think it's great. I mean, I just love seeing when there's bands with like representation, and I think it's awesome. And if you don't suck, that's even better.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for telling me that we don't suck. I appreciate
that. I mean,
or that was just like a warning, like like maybe if you don't suck, you could be better.
I'll tell you this. I can be picky with music, and if I thought you sucked, I wouldn't ask you to be on this show.
Fair enough. Well, man, I tell you, here, cheers. I don't know what you're sipping on over there.
I got some seltzer, but
oh yeah, I'm drinking some booch, some
nice,
booch.
Nice.
Tastes like socks.
All right, man. Well, I'll let you go, but I appreciate you doing this, and yeah, anytime. I hope you stay safe in Seattle, and I hope you keep making music.
Okay, I definitely will. Thanks for having me, and I'm gonna follow you on TikTok.
Yeah, see what you think.
All right, later, man.
All right, see you, man.